Hello, everybody. Welcome as we discuss Online Isolation Episode 5. We'll have some cast members joining us soon from the season. But first, let's talk about some of the big things that happened in this episode besides the cliffhanger. Mainly Adam, Wesley. They ended episode 4 with a little rivalry happening. Adam got the best of Wesley. What is your thoughts on that, Days?
Yeah, I kind of talked about that in our last podcast that this was going to make or break the game for Wesley. Um, I don't see why he went that route with calling out Adam to his face like that in their chat. So, yeah, it didn't work out well for him.
Q, do you think he should have done the same approach with Adam that he did with Lils and not vocalize his target?
I mean, I think he should have been consistent either way, where either he should have called out both Lils and Adam, or he should have been quiet on both of them. But I think that the consistency is needed because now people are kind of questioning, well, why didn't you keep that same energy with Lils? But I think Adam was pretty much forced to go after Wesley because the target was pretty clear. So
Agreed.
Now, much like the Power Player group before this one, there was a bit of a clash. This time it was Dee versus Adam. Do you think Dee fought hard enough for Wesley, or did she have to fight hard enough for Wesley? Q.
Well, I mean, it's not like she said, all they needed was a majority vote. So I felt like she said what she said, and Treasure was the swing vote, and I mean, there wasn't really much that she could have done. So, yeah.
Days.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't fight too hard. I think she's in a good spot in the game. So I think putting yourself out there in that moment is just not beneficial to her in any way. Wesley's a sinking ship. Don't tie yourself to it at this point.
There was a point, however, when Treasure was changing her own mind, running through the scenarios of Wesley in the game versus Wesley in the void. Do you think Wesley could have a big impact on the void with his personality?
Yeah, absolutely. Now that we know kind of how people get back out of the void, voting to shake up the game, Wesley's absolutely one of those that can do that. And if folks in the void are wanting to shake up the game, they're going to put him back in there to just mess it up as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think Leo and Wesley are the most likely to get back into the game from the void. So, and it's also good because he'll go in the void and he'll have all of those people rallying for him. So now he'll have kind of a void alliance rooting him on when he gets back in the game.
Well, do you think Brooklyn would rally for him, or?
I mean, I feel like she would because his decision didn't really come down to like a personal attack on her. I think it was kind of like everybody else wanted to go Brooklyn anyway. So again, it just ended up being her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wesley didn't even know her, or still doesn't know her technically. Another side story to Wesley's whole persona this week was Deleon and him letting Lils know what Wesley was really saying about her. Q.
I told you, Deleon is petty and he's messy, and it's the TV that we needed, right? I feel like the information had to get back to Lils at some point, and I could think of no better messenger than him. So.
Yeah, I agree. Deleon's doing a really good job of spreading information. It needed to get back to Lils. I mean, we saw Lils blow up, so I mean that just betters his game at this point because she's next target number one that is going to sink. So I think he played it right. I'm still high on Deleon to win the game. He's sitting in a good spot, so he's playing it right so far.
Go ahead, Q.
Well, I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but I was just going to say, I thought that him, wanting to take so much ownership over the whole, Leo and Kelsey thing. Like he very much wanted to like attach himself to that drama and be like, oh, I started that. Like the rumors started with me. And so I think he takes a lot of pride in shaking up the game. And I think he wants people to know that I said what I said.
Now, did he did say that, right? Like he did take ownership of that.
Oh,
So how does that work with Leo back? Do you think that puts a huge target on DeLeon's back? Does that put a bigger target on his back than Lil's?
How do you think Lils will react to this information? Well, I mean, Wesley's out of the game now, so that helps, but it seems to change the way Lils wants to play this game. Do you think she's about to get more cutthroat? She said she was going to slit throats, so.
I don't put it past her, that's for sure. I think there's a fire lit underneath her, and she's fixing to come real hard. And it's going to be after Leo first, because that whole sneaky sitting behind the things, sitting behind the scene kind of blew up her game a bit. So she's going to have to play as hard as she can to keep herself from falling.
I was a little surprised that Lils reacted the way that she did when she found out the news that Wesley was, talking shit behind her back. Because I feel like she's a very logical player, and so it was kind of surprising to see her lose her cool a bit. Like she's very strategic, and I feel like she, at the end of the day, she would know like the game is the game. So I'm surprised that she reacted the way that she did.
Do you think it's because she was feeling close to Wesley?
Maybe.
I still don't believe the whole Wesley Lil's thing was real. I think it was kind of, they weren't really at each other's throats. They were kind of playing it off. I don't know what to make of it, honestly.
And even if you watch the chat before, Lils and Wesley had a one-on-one before Wesley went to the Void, like they were vibing. Like they have good chemistry. So maybe that's why it upset her. It's just because like they actually did kind of vibe on like a personal level. So maybe she was just surprised to see that he was talking shit about her.
I think ultimately it's just the case of two really big egos, and if you can set those egos aside, you can actually work really well together. So
Wesley put this idea in Lil's mind of Lindsay and Adam working together, and Lil's was not happy to hear that about Lindsay and Adam.
I mean, does she not see it?
Yeah.
I think she does now, but apparently she didn't before. She said she didn't.
I thought it was
That
pretty
didn't make
obvious.
sense.
I mean, Lindsay was straight up campaigning to keep Adam safe. Like, we all saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like some strategy behind those two, but I think Adam and Lindsay genuinely get along well with one another, and they want to keep each other in the game. So I don't know how you can't see that when talking to them in chats.
Yeah, I also don't understand why that was a huge revelation to her. But one thing that Lils did say that I really liked was just that Lindsay's whole ditzy act might be just an act. And, Lindsay is I said it last time, she's a lot more strategic than she lets on. So I'm glad that people are kind of picking up on that. And, maybe if they do start sensing that, she'll be next in the board.
Yeah, her confessionals and what you see from her in chats are two completely different Lindsays. So there's definitely something behind the whole, I'm not smart, I'm ditzy thing. She plays it up really well.
And Lindsay seemed to have a revelation that maybe she's actually playing the game well because she's making friends with different kinds of people in this game. Do you think that is helping her?
Yep, I do. And I kind of agree with her. There's so many different personalities in this game that you really have to mesh well with all of them so that you don't become the target, because that first argument you have is going to put a target on your back regardless if you want it there or not. So I'm not sure why it took 5 episodes to get to that point for her, but yeah, I think she's playing the game the way it needs to be.
I think she's doing all right. I think that some people could perceive her getting different personalities to like her as being wishy-washy, which is the problem that Lils has with her, is that when you have everyone liking you, then it seems like you're easily swayed. So I think that everyone in the game doesn't like her as much as she maybe thinks, and also being likable is not being likable is important because we see it working well with Dee, but I don't think it's working as well with Lindsay. Because I think for her it comes off as being really flaky and wishy-washy and impressionable.
Do you think that there's any real or anybody really coming after her at this point other than possibly Lils?
I think Wesley is probably going to come after her even in the void because Lindsay is the reason that Adam is in the game. And now there's this whole coupling of Lindsay and Adam together. So I think, yeah, if they can't go for Adam, let's go for his known ally.
Yeah, I can see that.
We do have Kelsey waiting in the wings. I'm going to give Alex a couple more minutes to come.
Did she wave back?
I wasn't paying attention. She's waving now, though. I guess the last thing we'll touch upon is that bottom group with Alex, Lindsay, and Wesley. Wesley was pretty sure that was going to be the end for him because of who he was with. We talked about this last week, and Lindsay possibly being the ultimate non-threat. How long could you stay that, though, Q?
Well, I think that in the instance of her being safe from that elimination, it's not because she's a non-threat. And really, like, when people talk about her, Lindsay, they don't say like, oh, Lindsay, the non-threat. It's just that I think she has Adam in there who's going to be willing to vouch for her. She has Treasure who's going to vouch for her. So it's not even a factor of being a non-threat. It's just that she has people in power who like her, and that's all she needs.
I think she's still sitting pretty well. Even if Wesley or Lils come after them, those two are still bigger targets than her. So I don't think there's anything to be concerned about yet unless Wesley gets back in the game. Because I think that before anybody gets a chance to come after Lindsay, Wesley and Lils will be in the void together and only one of them will be able to get back out. So
Okay, I'm going to bring in Kelsey and Alex. Please welcome them to the podcast. Hello, Alex. Hello, Kelsey.
Hey. Hey,
Kelsey, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And when you first started the game, what was your strategy going into the game?
I did not have a strategy going into the game. Like I said in probably most of my confessionals, like I had no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to play it. I was trying to feel out the game because like half the time I really didn't know what was happening. Yes, that's how I felt at the beginning.
I feel like that's how you felt in like the first 15 minutes of the game. Because you caught on pretty quick. I mean, at least in your ratings you did. You were one of the few players that knew how to rate in the game early on. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how to rate, right? Like it looked like you and Leonard had a pretty good idea of how to rate folks to move yourself within the ladder of the game. So I'm assuming that was your intention.
Yeah, it crossed my mind. I wasn't like 100% sure that's how it worked, but I decided like I'll try rating everyone else lower than I would actually rate them and see if it moves me up, and it didn't always work. So I kind of went like back and forth between thinking, oh, I should do it this way, or no, I'm just going to rate how I would want to rate.
Now, Alex, before we get to the elephant in the room, the elephant being the Flash, what was your strategy going into the game? And when Flash asked you that question, did you have a strategy at that point in time?
So like Kelsey, I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to be because there were still some people in the game that I haven't met. But I think my strategy was more so first filling everyone out And then not necessarily depending on an alliance or anything like that, but rating low who I felt like were threats at first, whether I liked them or not. So when the Flash asked me what my strategy was, I was still getting it together. But regardless whether or not it was together, I still wasn't going to reveal it because I felt like at that point I learned that some people talk themselves into the void by talking too much, telling way too much of their business. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do it. But I felt like I was real about that. I'm not going to be faking, but I'll make up something. No, I'm not going to tell you. I don't know you like that. And I didn't care how it came across. So I figured it probably was going to rub some people the wrong way, but I didn't care. I stayed in the game longer versus telling all of my business and then going into the void. So that's how some people that got in the void, they talk way too much. I'm like, and I'm the watcher. I'm like, shh, don't be telling too much. So yeah.
I think you did a pretty good job of getting out of it. I don't feel like you're really a target at this moment, although you're in danger of going to the void. But you're not going to be the one to go into the void if you're at the bottom. So I think you played it off pretty well. You were kind of a target at the beginning because of the whole Flash thing, but I think you're sitting pretty. I think you move up soon.
Okay, but what kind of happened between the beginning of the game versus like the middle part where we are now? Because I felt like when you came in, you really did come in guns blazing. Like you came in with a really large persona. At least that's how it just came off.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this. The guns are still there. They still blazing. They just calmed a little bit. So they're still there now. They're still blazing. We just calmed it back a little bit because I did realize I was like, oh, dang, I probably came off like, boom, I'm still there. But I was like, let me just tone it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So they were still there for sure. But once I got out of the group with the Flash, I was like, you know what? That's when I was like getting that intuition. I was like, maybe I should tone down a little bit because I was seeing how some people kept their guns blazing, and now that's getting them to the void and the danger. So I thought, oh, let me tone down a little bit, but they were still there.
Why do you think the Flash took it the way he did? Because you stay in his mouth in like 5 episodes straight.
Because he loved me. That's why he couldn't stop talking about me. He loved me. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that he took it the wrong way because of the boldness. Because when I watched it back later, I was like, you know what, it came off really bold. So I think that's why he didn't like it. And because, everyone else was telling their strategies, but I was the only one that's like, no, I'm not telling you. So I think he didn't like that. I don't think it's necessarily he didn't like that I wouldn't tell him. I think it's the way and the tone that I said I'm not going to do it. So I think that's what rubbed him the wrong way, not necessarily me not telling. Because even after that, if you watch everyone else, only like 2 other people told their strategies. Like no one else that really said anything, or they're kind of piggyback off of everyone else. I think because I was the only one. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm not telling you. It's that boldness. He was like, oh no, she's crazy.
Do you think at this point in the game, with as much as he's been saying about you, that he is a potential target for you? And if he is, how do you go about that going forward in the game?
Definitely a potential target. I think that at this point in the game, because I've been in a not safe group a couple of times at this point, I definitely think that he's working to get me out. So, or going to convince everyone else in the group to get me out. But at the same time, how can I say this? I think in the game, you have to kind of not talk about so much about who you don't like, because I also think that can get you in trouble too, because you don't know if that other person that you're talking to secretly likes this person or rating them high, and now you're creating a target on your back because again you're talking way too much about this particular person. So yeah, definitely a target. I knew that coming out of that chat that night. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So he didn't say it to me, but I can feel that energy. I can feel the vibe. But also, like I just said, sometimes going around too much, especially at this point in the game where you're kind of knowing who you like, knowing who you want, talking way too much about who you want out. At this point, it's a hit or miss. It can help you or break you at this point. So
Now, Kelsey, speaking of the Flash, his crush on you aside,
Oh.
do you think that he has your back like he says he does?
I don't know because I hadn't had a lot of chats with him, like in the first 5 episodes. So I thought he was cool. He's a very big personality. I mean, I heard about him way before I ever met him. I don't think I really trusted him fully at this moment, but I didn't think that he was trying to get me out.
Now, I do want to talk about episode 5, but before we get there, I think we have to talk about something else because you both were in the safe group when Wesley was talking about Lils and how he was going to get her out and how he was targeting her, Kelsey. What was running through your head in that conversation when Wesley was talking about Lils?
I'm trying to think. I was more so like just surprised because the past or the nights before, like when we were all in a group with Lils, he was so quiet and kind of feeding off of her instead of, and then he switches back to, oh, I'm getting her out. She's my biggest target. So it was just like, it seemed like a little wishy-washy to me that he couldn't just stick with one story. So it definitely made me think, oh, I can't really trust what he says because in another group he could just say a complete different thing.
Alex, what were your thoughts on Wesley and all of his talking about?
I was surprised too. It could have been the internet connection he was having, or like Kelsey said, he kind of laid back for a little bit. But once I got to talk to him again, I was like, you know what? I think it might have just been internet connection the whole time because, he came in bold. You remember Kelsey, never mind, Kelsey, you weren't in the other chats, but he came in bold each time, even with Adam, as you see. So I wasn't really surprised that he was trying to get Lils out because after he said, I'm trying to get all the threats out, I knew that Lils would probably be a bigger threat to him. So I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised that he said it. From what I know, again, I needed to probably go back and watch. From what I know, he actually said it to Adam, but not to Lils, which is probably a good thing because, again, that could have created targets. Again, you can't be too, because if he would have said, oh, I'm trying to get you out, that would have been another target on his back besides Adam. So I was surprised because he hasn't been talking much, but then once he told us his strategy of him trying to get his threats out, it didn't shock me anymore. So I was like, okay. Well, I know that his biggest threat would be either Lil, Flash, and Adam.
So why don't you think he kept that same energy? So he went to Adam and was like, yeah, Adam, I tried to get you out. And then with Lils, he was all, they were buddy and vibing. So why didn't he keep that same energy? Or how did you guys react to that, at least, watching it back?
I think that maybe he told Adam because Adam doesn't talk a lot, as you said, and I've been saying that in all of my confessionals. Adam is he's definitely a power player, but just because he's not talking a lot or has a loud personality or big person doesn't mean that. But Lils, on the other hand, I think Lils, in her group, she's doing most of the talking and stuff, and I think that he sits back and tries to get information out of her, versus Adam won't probably say too much. Lils, she gonna be saying a lot, so I think he was using that, getting all that information to use against her later in the game. I think that's why he didn't keep that energy because he thought she's talking. Would you say, Nick?
I think that's a good point.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, she's talking a lot. Let me tune in. What she saying? So yeah. Kelsey, what you think? Because he was a different person. I was like,
yeah.
What?
I don't know. I feel like also because I think he noticed that Lils had a little more pull in the game than Adam did. Everyone loved Lils. So he probably was a little afraid to go head to head with her in a group because that would put targets directly on his back from all the people that liked her and would want to protect her. Whereas Adam, at that point, didn't really have that many people that were really close to him. So it's probably just a little fear of Lils.
That's a good point. I didn't think about.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Later on in the game, the people that you thought loved Lils, you'll see later on in the game that a lot of that slowly didn't feel that way, or that they didn't want to go head to head with her either. So I'm not gonna give it away for you.
In this last episode, DeLeon is the one that led to Lils in on Wesley's talking about her like that. How do you guys see DeLeon's game so far, Alex?
DeLeon, I think I think DeLeon is not dependent on an alliance per se. He has people he likes, but he's not necessarily forming or depending on an alliance to save him. But I think that him spilling the tea is also, getting people on his side, was by telling them stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they felt like, okay, DeLeon knows this, DeLeon knows that. But at the same time, I felt like it also was putting targets on his back at the same time too, because now people felt like, okay, he's trying to create drama, he's trying to tell this, trying to spill the tea here. But I think that he was using that by spilling the tea to Lils, especially, was to start kind of, I'm not gonna say turning people against each other, but creating a little chaos here in the game. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely like to stir the pot in the game. I think after what he did with Leo, and everyone hates Leo now, I think he was trying to maybe do the same thing with Wesley. Also, just because DeLeon and Lils were really close throughout pretty much from the start. They were always in the same chats, and I do think he felt an alliance to her, and kind of like, oh, I've heard this, let me tell you, so I'll stay on your good side. And hopefully that will take me farther in the game, because he saw Lils as a strong player.
Yeah. Kelsey, I want to touch upon you, Leo, and Dee. They helped you get to a power player spot, but then Leo got voted out. What made you guys come to that decision, though, as a group? Do you think you guys worked well together?
It was definitely hi, Ben. It was definitely more, not a 50-50 in that group. I was definitely overpowered. But at the same time, I knew me alone, I could not save both of them. And so at the end of the day, I knew I'm going to have to get rid of one of them. And I just chose Dee to kind of, because she was also the easier person to stay, because no one really had anything against her. Whereas I felt if I really tried hard to keep Leo in, it would have made a lot of more enemies.
Are you riding with Leo now that he's back? Are you still gonna ride that train, or are you kind of?
I mean, I felt bad that he left, and so I was happy that he got out of the void. His message was a little ominous. I wasn't really sure if he meant that as a threat or like, I'm coming for you. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he did return in this last episode. You two were in the same group, the first group he returned. And Alex was even talking about, what if somebody pops up from the void, and then here comes Leo. What was your guys' first reactions to seeing Leo pop up?
Well, y'all saw my reaction.
I know. Yeah. I think I like my mouth dropped. I can't remember, but I definitely was very surprised that he just kind of popped in. And then I thought that like we were all just talking about him. Yeah. It was surprising.
But the way it happened, like we were just talking about him. I think I was the one that said it first, and I can't remember if I said it would specifically be him or not. And then he just comes in, and I was like shocked. And then he was like, and like Alex said, and I was like, oh, he was watching us the whole time. He was like, oh, okay.
What are y'all thoughts on, especially with Leo coming back? Because that is not who I thought would come back into the game. What are you thinking as far as how the system of getting back into the game works at this point? Like, if you get sent to the void, how do you get back in? At least, what's your thought process on that?
that either Nick decides who comes back or the void votes who they want to come back in the game?
Yeah, I kind of thought it was similar to how we were voting players in the game. They would probably vote on different aspects or characteristics of the void people, but I wasn't sure like how that determined who got to come back.
Were you
There was also-
surprised that it was? I was gonna say, were you surprised that it was Leo versus Brooklyn or Elizabeth or Monet? No.
Not
Isn't
really.
that who I said was coming back? I felt like I said his name was like, that's who's coming.
You did. And the
I
full
yeah.
Yeah,
Not in
So-
our chat. I didn't think he was coming in our chat. I thought he was gonna be in another group.
He made his way around that night, as we saw.
Oh yeah, he came in headstrong, as y'all see in another chat. I was like, well, he kind of came in strong with Dillion too. So
He did.
yeah.
So when he returned, Alex, you were wondering if he was going to seek revenge or not, even though he said he wasn't. Did you believe him?
no, that's why I kept asking, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, no, I'm not. I'm just here for love. I was like, are you sure? Because think about it like this. If you have an idea of who voted you out and you got a chance to come back in, what are you coming back in for? You're still in the game. So you come back in, what, to show love to Kelsey? Or, why would you, what are you coming back in to do? Like, Kelsey, I know y'all was a team, but what are you coming back in to do? So that's why I didn't believe that. So,
Kelsey, what did you think Leo's intentions were back in the game?
Well, I
No.
knew he didn't like Lils, so I was hoping I don't remember if he knew in that when he came back who voted him out. I think he said he knew, but I'm not sure if that was just a facade or whatever. So I was hoping that if he knew or when he found out, he wouldn't be coming for me. So I was hoping to get to talk to him one-on-one to kind of tell him how it all went down.
Which, did Leo ever even think that it was you that voted him in? I feel like he always just kind of assumed it was a majority thing. I don't think he ever was like, "Oh, I'm coming for Kelsey."
Yeah,
You
no,
say that?
no.
Yeah, I don't think Leo really ever knew exactly who was the ones that voted him out. I mean, it technically wasn't Kelsey. It was more Lils, Wesley, and Lindsay. But so let's talk about. I mean, we've only got to see a little bit so far, but when Leo pops up on the other chat with Lils, he overhears Lils talking about him. Do you think his reaction was the reaction he needed?
what was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you think his reaction was the reaction he needed after overhearing Lils?
No.
I mean, I would be mad too if somebody's talking about, and I can hear you, and I know I'm coming back in the chat. Then yeah, I would have said something too. But so I understand why he was upset. But at the same time, though, like Kelsey said, a lot of people at this point felt close to Lil. So everyone else in the group like, oh, I know he didn't come at her like that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that again created another target. But I would be upset too if I ever heard someone saying, I probably come and be like, yeah, I can hear you. Now, why he got that upset? I don't know. Because if it's not true, then no need to get mad. No need to get that upset if what they're saying about you is not true. But he came in headstrong. But who knows? That might have been an act. He's like, okay, let me get all the attention on me. Let me show out real quick. I know
Kelsey, what did you think about the reaction?
Why? If it were me personally, coming back in from the void after literally just been voted out, I definitely would have treaded a little lighter in that situation. But it's Leo, and I wasn't surprised by it. It's just, and at this point, I'm not sure if he did himself any more harm than he already has done. So like, it was kind of
That's true.
What does he got to lose?
Did y'all see Dee Dee just sip her water while that was going on? Like, I was like, I could not have kept a straight face. Like, Treasure's face is totally what I would have been like, oh, and she just sipping the water like nothing's going on.
I think she had a good time in that chat watching. I'm going to turn it over to Q&A's if they have any questions for Alex and Kelsey.
I have a question, Alex. How did you feel about Lils telling you that she didn't know about you and she was on the fence about you in your middle of the pack chat?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like trying to get him to sit back down while I'm trying to film. I'm sorry. He thinks I'm playing. But anyway, I can't say that I was surprised. You know why? Because her and Flash, have been like this since day one. So I knew that their views about me probably had been similar. I'm not surprised that she said it to me either, because I feel like I already got that from her personality first meeting her, that she likes to say how she feels. So I'm not surprised that she said it, but to be quite honest, I really didn't care. Y'all know, like I said, with Shonta, I don't care about opinions too much. So, but when she said, like, oh, I felt like you were coming for everyone's head, and I'm like, well, not at first. So no, that wasn't accurate. So again, and I hated that my internet connection kept going in and out because I'm talking and Nick's like, Alex, we can't hear you. And I'm like, oh no, what do you mean? I'm saying some good stuff here. So I did tell her, I was like, no, that's not true. That's not accurate at all what you're getting. So to be honest, I wasn't surprised, but leaving the chat, I didn't feel like, okay, she would try to save me, but also I wasn't feeling like, okay, she doesn't like me, or she can't stand me either. It was just more like, but then also I had to question if that was being said to me to pull information out of me. You know how people say things where they're trying to gain information to see what you're going to say. So that I also, it was just so many questions like, I wonder what you're saying they're trying to pull. But I was like, okay, well, that's not true. But next topic here.
So last week, Q and I kind of discussed what the people getting out of the void have to do to stay in the game. With Leo coming back, and this may differ for each of y'all, is he the easy target to get out at this point? Just send him right back to the void?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, that was an easy answer.
Because he's already gotten out, but before even being voted out to the void, people already had a perception about him. So then when you come back in, like Kelsey said, coming hard at everyone, not light, of course, that's kind of stirring the fire all over again. So it'd be easy to vote him right back out if could. So.
And then second question there, I don't know if this was discussed when I had to leave for a second. Kelsey, regarding Flash, are the feelings mutual?
That is not. We are not discussing. I didn't know, first of all, because I had no idea. So, yep, that's all I have to say on that topic.
Well, as Dee Dee would say in the comments of Team Cash with a K, that's the whole.
Yeah.
I had a question, but I think I might have lost it. It was, what was your last question to them, Days, regarding? Oh, okay. When you guys weren't in the group when Leo went off on them, I want to see how you guys think the others will react. How do you think Treasure will react to that confrontation between Loyals and Leo?
You asking me?
Anybody.
I think the best thing to do for everybody is step back and let them go at it. Just don't even jump into that. Let them make targets out of themselves. If anything, they'll be sent to the void before you. So.
Do you think Adam will do the same since he's usually quiet?
Yeah, I think. Or go ahead, Q.
I think Adam, being the strategic person that he is going to capitalize on that animosity between Leo and Lils and probably try to work with Leo, if anything. So that would probably be his reaction.
Yeah, Adam does have some feelings about Lils, even though this is their first time meeting.
Yeah,
he's a sociopath.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
season 7.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of over Lil's diagnosing everybody in all of her chats and confessionals.
It gets better.
Oh, great.
I think that that's why Kelsey and I, like Dave said, sit back and allow them to just like kind of hash it out. So I think that's why Kelsey and I in our chat didn't say anything when Deleon and Lindsay were having it out, and then Deleon and Leo have it out. It's nothing you can say, just kind of listen out and just let them resolve whatever issue, if it even gets resolved that night, So
Yeah.
I think it's why me and Kelsey were just quiet about it.
Yeah.
That was entertaining too.
Oh, I'm so excited for the next episode. I hate the cliffhanger, but I'm already ready for it.
I don't think that Lil's thought that Leo had it in him. Like, I think she kind of thought she could punk Leo a little bit.
No.
And I
you
think she's
think so?
gonna be shook. Yeah, I think she's gonna be shook when like it's her chance to respond. I don't think she's gonna go hard at Leo. I don't.
I mean, if
You think that
she's smart,
came in at her like that?
Oh, absolutely.
That shocked us all. That shocked us all because, he was like, oh, I love all you guys. And then he just came in like, I was like, oh.
I mean, I hate for you to have to relive this, Kelsey, but I think since you're here, we have to talk about the B word.
No, we
baby.
don't. No.
I knew you were going to say that.
What has it been like watching this back with the whole bitch situation?
It's almost more annoying than living it. I literally, when it comes up, I'm watching it, rolling my eyes. And it's the most absurd thing. Like, I just, it was so annoying. I had everyone coming, asking me about it. And I thought saying once, like, no, it didn't, like, upset me. It was meant as a joke. And then everyone still was like, well, are you sure? Like, he didn't know you, and, like, I wouldn't have done it if I just met you. And I was like, okay, but it's me. Like, he did it to me, and I didn't take it bad. So then everyone really should have just dropped it.
How did it make you feel knowing that DeLeon was the brainchild behind that? He said what he said. So how does that make you feel about DeLeon?
I mean, I still really liked him in the game, and I just like, it didn't really annoy me that well. It annoyed me that he was spreading it, but it didn't annoy me to the point where, like, I was gonna try to go for DeLeon. I just felt like, oh, he's just started drama. Yeah.
Alex, do you think DeLeon should have took credit for that in that last chat with you guys when Leo returned?
You mean when he said, like, oh, yeah, say it was me, or I said it or something? If I were him, I probably wouldn't have said anything at that moment because it may, Lindsay may have not revealed that. So I probably wouldn't have said anything, but also he may have said it because he thought that she was just going to go ahead and say it, you know what I'm saying? Or that it was going to come out to Leo later on. So he's like, let me just go ahead and get it out there that it was me before she says it, or it's going to come out later to him by someone else.
But wasn't Lindsay didn't even hear it from him, right? She
revealed that she didn't hear it from him, but no one else in the chat knew where she heard it from because I couldn't remember. I don't know where she heard it from. So
I think she heard it from Treasure.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we can all agree that word spreads fast in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was surprised that he didn't know we were talking about him. He's like, "Are y'all talking about me?" And I think I was like, "Yeah, we're talking about you."
Poor Leo with his language barrier sometimes.
That was funny. He was so surprised.
I know. Then I kind of felt bad at him. I was like, "Oh my goodness, he has no idea that like this was going around." No wonder he's probably thinking the whole time, "Why am I in the void?" Not even.
Well, before we wrap this up, any last questions, Q, Taste?
I'm ready to see what Alex does in this game. I know I said you had the murder eyes, and I think that's still there. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to see some action there.
That sounds like a psychopath. Murder.
No, when I watched it back, I think your eye makeup was just so amazing, like that close up, and I was like, oh no. And this was right after the chat with you and Lil, so I think your best move at this point is just stay as low as you can. But I do want to see the fire come out. I'm not gonna lie, just from a viewer standpoint.
What about with Kelsey? What kind of shenanigans is Kelsey going to get up to?
I want to see where this Flash and Kelsey thing goes. I want to see if he actually brings it up and they build like this secret alliance and, you know, we get some hearts on the screen and yeah, I'm ready. I'm all about it. I'm ready for it.
Oh, man.
I still stand by Kelsey is one of the more strategic players in the game. You're like a silent assassin. I do still stand by that. So we'll see how far you get if you make it to the end. So
Yeah.
Well, I guess we could do one last thing without giving away spoilers, Kelsey and Alex. What do you think is going to come from this next episode after this Lils Leo confrontation?
Oh, without giving it away. Okay. So, like Dave said, you know, of course, the episode comes out Tuesday, and just even the further episodes that Days, you are correct that there will be some fire and some power to come from me. So I'm just not gonna give it away. So look, you look like, oh, what's up? You know.
Yeah.
I'm literally having issues thinking what the next episode is.
Love is in the air. It's coming.
No. What chats were those? What breakup? Like the two chats?
It was you, Alex, Delian, Lindsay, and Leo, and then it was Leo, Lils, Treasure, D, Adam, and the Flash, who's going to be late to that chat.
Oh, yeah, but were they the like highest and lowest scores?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just from that, I feel like in the next round, Leo will go down just because of the confrontation with kind of both groups a little bit. I think if Lils is a power player next and Leo is in the bottom, she's going to come right back after to send him back to the void.
And don't underestimate the void too. The people that get sent there, don't underestimate the void too. They can be just as ruthless and just as dangerous.
I want to make a bold prediction for next week that it will not be Leo that takes the hit and ends up in the void. It will be Lils.
Lils isn't going to the bottom. I disagree with that.
She
Lils
might.
isn't going.
Why do you say that, Q?
I just, like, for everyone targeting Lils, no one seems to really be putting their votes where their sentiments lie. So I feel like as long as you all keep voting her these, you know, good or at least mediocre grades, she's not going to go to the bottom. So
You don't think this will
I think we'll
change
see.
anybody's mind?
Nope, I don't. Not this week.
Okay, well, we will leave it at that. I want to thank Kelsey and Alex for joining us. I hope you've been enjoying the season so far.
Yeah, good season.
I'll
I'm
be in the
loving
live chat on Tuesday nights.
Oh, me too.
I know.